Hello, everyone. We're going to get started now. Welcome, and if you joined us yesterday, welcome back to Netelixir University's third annual event, #SEO Week. Today's webinar, Adopting a Mobile-First SEO Philosophy. I'm Julia, your host for today and Netelixir University coordinator. We are so excited that you are able to join. Before we get into the webinar, I want to go over some housekeeping guidelines. Any technical difficulties, please type your issue into the question bar on the GoToWebinar panel and let us know. And then also any questions that you have about the presentation, be sure to also write them in the question bar. At the end of the webinar, we're going to have a live question session where we will go over this. So before we get into the webinar, here's a little bit about Netelixir. We're a team of 100+ fanatically analytical search marketers operating in 3 countries. To the right, you can see some of our clients. We are a preferred partner of both Google and Bing, and ultimately our value is to combine our expertise and our proprietary technology to help businesses get found, convert visitors to customers, and acquire game-changing consumer insights. And here's a little bit about what Netelixir can do for you. So the first column, you can see our services. We offer paid search and shopping management, SEO, and also paid social management. We also offer technology in the form of our LXR products. We offer free tools found at our LXR marketplace for small businesses, and also paid tools such as our do-it-yourself AdWords helper, LXR Guide. We also offer consulting services like web analytics, digital marketing strategy, and on-demand tech support. And here's a little bit about our speakers for today. So here, our first speaker is Christy Labarca. Christy has worked in the digital marketing industry for about 8 years with a special emphasis on technical elements in organic search and SEO. She has extensive experience in auditing and identifying causes of deeply rooted technical issues that impact SEO performance for small, medium, and large websites. Here at Netelixir, Christy helps manage organic search for clients and places emphasis on educating our clients and their teams. And here's a little bit about our other speaker today, Prabha Devovic. As a search marketing analyst for the SEO team, Prabha provides analytic insights to drive SEO strategies. Prior to joining Netelixir, Prabha worked in management consulting for a Big 4 firm and in academia performing independent research. So today is day 2 of Netelixir University's week-long #SEO Week. If you missed yesterday's webinar, The State of SEO, be sure to check out the recording and slides because they are available. Today we're going to be going over adopting a mobile-first SEO philosophy. Tomorrow we're going to talk about the role of user experience and web development in SEO. And then Friday we're going to talk about building a winning retail SEO strategy. So be sure to join the events if you feel it's appropriate for you. And also feel free to tweet using #SEO Week any of your learnings throughout the day. And as I mentioned yesterday, we'll be giving away freebies every webinar. Today we're offering a free mobile SEO audit. We're going to be doing a live mobile audit during the webinar that will take you through step by step. But our team has been trained by Google to do these audits, so we are happy to analyze your results and do the audit for you. You can request at the link below, but I see that the link is a little tough to remember, so we'll be putting that right in the question bar, so it's super easy and accessible to you. And before we jump into the webinar, I just want to start with a quick poll. Who do you design your website for? Give you guys a few seconds to answer. Okay, and here are the results. So as expected, 63% of desktop, 63% are focused on desktop users, but we also see that about 33% of you are focused on mobile, so that's extremely important. And we can see that's growing, and more people are focused on that. And as we take you through the slide today, you'll realize that why this is very important. All right, and with that, I'll pass it over to Prabha, and she's going to begin the webinar.
Thank you, Julia. Hello everyone, this is Prabha. So throughout today's webinar, we're going to be unpacking a lot of really great information. And we thought it would be helpful to kind of break it down first and show you what we'll be covering in an agenda. So first, we just want to introduce you to mobile first, what that means. Then we're going to look into the differences between what it means to be mobile friendly versus mobile optimized. Then we're going to dive into real case studies of our clients, and which might provide some evidence of why you should consider becoming mobile first. And then we're going to look really into more technical aspects of how do I become optimized for mobile, the importance of mobile speed. And finally, Christy is going to guide you through a live mobile audit. So what is mobile first? Mobile first is a Google algorithm change officially launched in January of 2017, just a couple of months ago. And Google's main aim has always been to provide a really great user experience. And as users are more and more gravitating to using mobile devices as their primary device, Google is following suit and prioritizing sites that offer that seamless user experience. If you need more convincing at how important being mobile first is, take a look at this great example. So here's Amazon, a huge company, and they probably invested millions into improving their mobile speed load time. And in fact, they invested so much, they reduced their latency by just a fraction of a second, 100 milliseconds. And what is the result of this? Basically, this has increased revenue by 1%. So seeing an example like this is actually very profound, because imagine how much you could improve your revenue by reducing your load time, say 3 seconds. And now really want to look at this transition from how Google has been moving towards becoming mobile optimized over time. It has been a transition from back in May 2015 with the launch of Mobile Get-In, where Google was asking sites to become mobile friendly. And this basically entailed that just having a mobile site. So a lot of companies didn't even have mobile sites back then. They were just on desktop. And so it really aimed to convert that site into being mobile friendly. And this kind of change, it was still designed thinking with the desktop first. And now what Google is moving towards is becoming mobile optimized. So what began as mobile friendly and used to be something that was encouraged, now is something that you just absolutely need that to compete. You need to have a working mobile site. But now what Google wants is they want you to really consider your users who are on mobile first, which means designing, first considering your mobile device platform, and then moving up to desktop and tablet and on and on. And as this was launched recently, actually Google really is saying that this is your chance to kind of get that competitive edge in your industry. But as we will be going more and more into 2017, it's actually may even become a ranking factor, which means that you may even be penalized for not having designed for mobile first. So In the next few slides, what we really want to do is show you real-life client data through some case studies of our clients. As mentioned previously, the playing field has dramatically changed with this algorithm update of mobile first. And you might be asking yourself the question, is it necessary for me to adapt? And maybe you have already adapted, which is really great. But if you haven't, how long can I wait, my business, my site, before not being mobile first actually impacts my bottom line? And so here we want to take you through 3 examples of clients who are SEO optimized, but not mobile optimized. What that means is we've been with them for a few years now, and we've provided them really great content, a great backlink profile, and many other useful SEO strategies. But as of yet, they haven't been able to actually take that next step to becoming mobile optimized. There are a few reasons for this. For some clients, it may be an easy fix to become mobile optimized. But for some, it might require actually a whole new website redesign, which costs a lot of time and resources, and finding that expertise that can help you do that. So that's one reason. Another reason is maybe it is easy to actually postpone something like this. And there may often be a mentality of, well, if it's not broke, I don't need to fix it yet. But as time will go on, this might end up eventually hurting them. And we want to show you some real-life data of what is happening currently with these clients who haven't yet optimized for mobile. So these all 3 clients are from different industries, and yet there is one major similarity, and that is that year over year, their traffic has declined on average. And the blue line you see is this past year, 2016, 2017, while the orange line is the year prior to that, 2015, 2016. Now, as you can see, that has generally higher than the blue line from this past year. We also took the traffic and looked at it, overlaid it with Google algorithm updates. And here you can see the major ones. Mobile Get-In, which kind of introduced mobile friendliness as something that could boost your rankings. Then the mobile update, which actually in May of 2016 actually made that a ranking factor, which means you would be penalized for not being mobile friendly. And finally, Mobile First, which officially launched in January 2017 and showed and basically once again put being mobile optimized as a ranking boost, which means if you have it, it's going to boost your ranking. And do keep in mind that Google may actually test the algorithm update a few months prior to launching it. So sometimes you can even see that decrease in your traffic or in your rankings before anything has officially taken place. So that can also be seen in the data. Now, why is traffic declining? So in this case study, we found even if desktop rankings may be increasing, which they are for most of our clients, mobile rankings are declining due to non-optimized mobile sites. Also, this is a factor of the fact that the number of people searching on mobile devices is increasing. So that piece of the pie of the people who used to be searching on your desktop are now transferring to searching on mobile. And if you have lower mobile rankings, you're going to have lower traffic there, and your overall traffic is going to decline. So basically, by being not mobile optimized, you're losing out on those users who have shifted their primary device. And as you can see here for client 1, you can see how their mobile rankings for the past 2 years have declined. And you can even see when the first Google mobile-friendly update took place, that slight decline in their rankings. And then it kind of climbed back up, and then a few other factors, including the mobile first index, further declined their mobile rankings. And this trend is also seen for client 2 and client 3. And then, of course, there's the competition. So if your competition is taking advantage of this mobile-first algorithm change, that means they have a huge boost in their rankings when people are typing in a common keyword in the SERP. So for client 1, we did a competitive analysis where we looked at its 4 major competitors and saw how their mobile rankings and their desktop rankings were actually correlated. And here you can see that there are 4 competitors. We'll call them competitor 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now, as you can see for competitor 1 and 2, over time their mobile rankings have slightly declined, just like for our first 3 clients in our case study. And on their desktop rankings, you also see these declines happening over time. Then client 3 and 4 have had a slight increase or remains relatively constant, and their desktop rankings have increased over time consistently. So believe it or not, competitor 1 and 2 are not mobile optimized, while competitor 3 and 4 are. So this is just one example of how the competition is able to gain that competitive edge, and actually those who aren't mobile optimized are being penalized inadvertently for not being mobile optimized. Just wanted to say as a side note, this does not mean that the company is tanking just because their traffic is declining. As an e-commerce site, your goal is eventually not to gain traffic, but to actually convert users and make money. So despite that decline in year-over-year traffic, we are seeing some great metrics happening, like user engagement is increasing, conversion rates may be increasing, average order value is increasing. And as you can see for client 2, this has been the trend that overall that blue line, which is this past year, is on average higher than that orange line. And this is a good indicator because that means that sites are attracting higher quality traffic. And the reason for this is, well, we like to think it's that besides providing a great product, we've also been working for them for years, providing them really good, high-quality content as SEO consultants, also creating a really quality backlink profile. And as a result, we've seen in the rankings that their desktop rankings are really going through the roof, especially for long-tail keywords. But ultimately, their bottom line year-over-year revenue hasn't been hit as hard as it would have if we hadn't been optimizing for those other ranking factors. So we do want to just put this as a side note because ultimately for your company, you have to look at what your data suggests. So I think we can end with this, with the question of how necessary is it for you to be mobile optimized? And what we feel here at Netelixir is the question is not how necessary it is, but how fast can we get there? As you've seen before, becoming mobile optimized as soon as possible is that competitive edge that can really help you get on top in rankings. And not being mobile optimized, unfortunately, we've seen that no matter how optimized you are on other SEO aspects, like having great content and all of these things, in a way you can't get past that glass ceiling. So, and please also keep in mind that not having a mobile-first design also does impact your desktop rankings, and this will continue to happen as you go forward in 2017. And this is something that Google has hinted consistently. So now that you've seen this, you might be feeling, wow, I really need to get mobile optimized. And in that case, I'm going to hand it over to Christy, who is our technical expert, and she can really tell you how you can do this.
Thank you, Prabha. So there's 3 things that we're really going to look at today for optimizing your mobile site. Those 3 things are going to be design, structured data, and mobile speed. So the first thing here is that we're looking at our design elements. For design elements, you really, of course, want to think in terms of the mobile user first. The way we design the site should be for the user who's on their iPhone or Android that is probably just using their thumb to navigate. We want to make sure we have a proper font size for them. Touch elements should be properly aligned, that they won't click some image twice or some link twice. And the viewport, of course, we want to make sure is adjusted to properly fit different browser sizes. Another thing about the design factor is in Google Search Console, you might notice under mobile usability, Google will provide feedback into mobile errors that they find on our site. Traditionally, the past year or so, these errors kind of fell on the back burner. There was something that we noticed and something that we would pay attention to and try to conform to, but we really, in the past, didn't know how to best adjust them to be optimized for Google. Now we've actually found that giving these attention and fixing them will increase your mobile rankings and your mobile organic performance. So definitely something to pay attention to in Search Console. The second thing for mobile that we want to talk about is marking up your site via structured data. So basically, you guys might notice that when you search on Google now, especially on a mobile device, a lot of the information that you're looking for will be served up right on the search engine result page. So Google is trying to get information to the users faster. The way that you mark up your site, the way that we get your site to show up on the search engine result page like this is by marking it up with structured data. So this code, the structured data code, will pull key information that users typically look for. The reason that this is important for mobile is that users on mobile devices tend to be looking for information quick. And it helps Google provide a better user experience by pulling this key information. In our example here, you could see some of the different elements that we could actually serve on the search engine result page, such as ratings, reviews, how long it takes to cook this recipe, and even the number of calories. So there's a lot of different things that you can do with structured data, and although structured data itself is not a ranking signal, it does significantly drive click-through rate. So definitely we strongly emphasize the importance of starting to implement structured data on your website. So the third factor that we want to talk about to optimize your mobile site is mobile speed. So mobile speed is obviously one of the top 3 most important factors for mobile optimization. And this statistic here actually came right from Google. We're asking why is being fast so important. So when users were asked what they disliked the most about browsing on their mobile device, it was 46% waiting for slow pages to load. So they've also found that if the page doesn't load in 3 seconds or less, users are likely to bounce back to the search result page. So what we really want to do is make sure that our content loads our content loads before that 3-second mark to keep our bounce rate down, which bounce rate we know impacts our overall SEO. Having a high bounce rate could impact our rankings and pretty much could go on from there. So what we really want to do here, and what we're going to do is have a live mobile audit that you guys could follow along with to actually test the details of your mobile page speed. So Google actually trained us in how they measure your mobile speed, and it gets a little technical, but it's very we're going to try to keep it on a simple level today and show you guys what Google is looking at. I think that's the key thing to get from this is these are the factors that we know Google is looking at. And these 3 factors are speed index, which is the measure of the speed at which your content loads above the fold, and it's measured in milliseconds. Total requests, which is the number of requests that your page sends. And page weight, which is the measure of how heavy your page is in millibytes. So right now, I request that you guys, if you want to audit your mobile site with us, go to webpagetest.org, and we'll just give you a few seconds to do that. Just give you guys a couple more seconds. Okay. So now, once you get to that webpagetest.org, you'll see a screen similar to what we have here. And in that bar where it says enter website URL, put your website URL in. And then you're going to want to change test location to Nexus 5. Change browser to Nexus 5-Chrome. And then set your connection. If you look under test settings, set that connection configuration to be mobile 3G fast. And the reason we tested at mobile 3G fast, we understand that a lot of people, a lot of the population has LTE speed, but Google has actually told us that even though this is the case, they find from their end that most users are actually, when they are on the internet or using Google, accessing through a 3G speed. That's the speed that they're getting. So this is what Google, is measuring it at, so that this is what we want to make sure that we optimize for. So at this point, if you want to capture video, it's helpful and useful to see. So I would recommend checking that box for capture video as well. And if you want to place a label, you can. And then you're going to click Start Test, this yellow button here on the top right. And we'll give it a few seconds to load. So while your test is running, I'm going to just take you guys through a couple of the 3 factors we previously mentioned that we really want to look at to optimize for. So the first one is speed index. Your speed index results will show like what we have here. And again, what we have outlined in the red, this website that we tested earlier today had a speed index of 7,478. Google generally recommends a speed index of 5,000 or less. So you guys are probably thinking, what is speed index? So it's basically, like I said earlier, the average time in milliseconds at which the visible part of the page is displayed. So a higher speed index means a slower page speed. And again, it's understandable that a page has a lot of content, especially the home page. So what we really want to focus on is the content above the fold, because the content above the fold will keep the user on the page. So if you want to improve your speed index, again, that's what we really have to look at. And all of these 3 elements will really tie together. We want to focus on decreasing the weight of the elements above the fold to ultimately increase your mobile speed performance. The second element that we're looking at for mobile speed is total requests. So here, on this example that we have, they actually, the total recommended requests, maximum requests that we should have is 100. But within each of these 100, there's a number of elements there's a number of requests per element. So for JavaScript, Google recommends less than 10, CSS less than 5, images less than 30, and fonts 0 to 3. So although the audit that we did here does fall within 100, there are many Java requests that are likely taking longer to load, because traditionally that is the case. Images as well. Images do fall within the requests here in our audit. I think some of you might find that there are a lot more image requests than what Google is recommending. And we'll get a little bit more into that in a few seconds. But again, this is a general guideline that we want to focus on. And total requests, again, like I said, this is really all integrated. So the impact on your SEO is going to be having so many requests that is increasing your page speed through the transfer of information back and forth. This is increasing our page weight, which again is the third factor. So through Chrome development tools, and you guys could do this just using the Chrome browser, you'll actually be able to see which elements, which requests are the heaviest. So the third factor, which is page weight, and you'll be able to see this in your mobile audit actually next to the requests. It'll tell you how much each request is. So the impact of page weight is going to be that it, obviously, as mentioned for the other two elements, is that it increases your page time. So a heavier page naturally is going to be a longer load time. The images, we found in our experience that images are typically the most taxing on our clients' websites. You know, we want a high quality image and we upload it and it's just weighing down the site. This is something that we could really, you know, that could be condensed while preserving quality that oftentimes is overlooked. And this, as previously mentioned, is the heaviest element that typically impacts page weight. So if you want to improve your page weight, what we recommend doing is firstly compress your images. You could also use a CDN. There's tools that will allow you to compress images in bulk. And another thing you could do is decrease the number of images. At the very least, if you can't do that above the fold, I'm sorry, if you can't decrease the number of images on your home page or on the particular page, you might want to rearrange the way the images are laid out on that specific web page. Because again, what we really want to focus on is above the fold. We want the user to stay on the page. If as long as they have something to look at and something to navigate to, if the rest of the page is loading, that's okay. We just want to keep them on the page. And as a general guideline, main images should be, so main promotional images or whatnot, should be no larger than 100 kilobytes, and other images should be in the 20 to 50 kilobyte range. So by now, you guys your mobile audit should have finished, and you should have this information, the 3 elements that we just spoke about. And you'll also be able to watch your actual page, your mobile page speed through this video that is provided. If you click download video, you should be able to view it, or you should be able to view it right on your browser. And we ran one earlier for Best Buy, and we just want to show actually how long it takes to load above the fold. So that's 6.1 seconds. If I didn't know who Best Buy was, I might have clicked back in this case. So this is, you know, especially for medium-sized businesses, like if you're trying to gain a market share that might have not heard of you, this is something that's really, really important. And as Prabha had mentioned earlier, Amazon has proven that increasing your page speed time by a very, very small amount has increased their conversions, you know, by 1%, which is a huge rate. So the 3 things that we really want you to remember from the mobile audit are too many resources required. Every element that you guys that is on a website has a resource a connection to be established. So we want to try to minimize these. There's too much loading above the fold. If there's too many requests, especially for JavaScript and CSS, that occur in the head or before rendering, we want to make sure to minimize these and at least bring them below the fold. And of course, images. Images that are either too big in weight or if there are too many, we want to try to minimize this and just make everything very lightweight. And images is typically the first place you want to start because it's the easiest to fix. So that's pretty much it for our mobile audit. But we have more for you guys this week. And with that, I'll hand it over to Julia.
Great, thanks, Christy. So as I said earlier, we have free mobile SEO audits. I'm actually sending the link right now through the chat. So if you missed something, like we said earlier, we're trained by Google professionals. We can help analyze some of this data, fill in any gaps. Please feel free to request it. And like I said, this is a week-long event, so be sure to attend our other sessions. And now we will be taking some questions. So one of the first questions that I see here is, where are the slides available? And the recording. So we're going to have an email at the end of the week with a link to all of our recordings and the slides. And also you can find this on our website under University, but like I said, we'll be sending you an email, so that would be probably easier for you to see. The next question is, how do you determine whether your site is mobile friendly versus mobile optimized?
So typically, you start with being mobile friendly, and for mobile optimized, what you want to search for, the first thing to look at is in Google Search Console under mobile usability. See if there's any errors that have come up that Google is telling you about. I think this section in Search Console is often actually overlooked, but this is the first thing that you want to look at. If there's errors in there, pay attention to them because Google is placing emphasis on that. Another thing, of course, like we just went through the mobile audit, test your page speed. If it takes a while to load above the fold, this is how you know whether you're being just mobile friendly or mobile optimized. From a design standpoint, though, you could really rely on Search Console for that, as well as having an actual audit done, a user experience audit.
Great, thanks. So here's another quick question. How should structured data be used on pages that list multiple products, such as product search result pages?
So typically for those types of pages, what you really want to do is mark up, instead of marking up the category page, which I think is what we're talking about here, you want to mark up the actual product page. And there's two ways that you could do this. There's a data highlighter in Google Search Console, which will actually guide you through the process of marking up your data. This is, obviously it's better to do this than to not do it, but we actually recommend having the code, because that will work for all search engines and not just Google. But if you guys are just getting started with structured data and you want to get an understanding with it, we do recommend trying out the data highlighter tool in Google Search Console. And this will guide you through how to mark up a product, and it'll actually pick up all of the products on your site from there by one example.
Great, thanks. Okay, next question. What's the ideal range for overall number of requests?
So for the overall number of requests, we generally want to keep it just low. Yeah, for the actual request, I'm sorry, we want to keep it low, again, within that 100 mark range. And the thing to really think about is that these are all integrated. So ultimately, the goal is to have a lower page weight, a less number of requests, and a lower speed index. So what I would recommend doing is going into into using Chrome and looking at each request, as well as the audit that we just did, and see which ones can you kind of either restructure and put together or take out. Oftentimes there'll be old scripts on a site that you don't need, that you might have forgot about, some old analytics tracking code. Those are all bringing your site down. So again, just try and focus on keeping them all together and then breaking each piece down one by one.
Great, thanks so much. So I think that's pretty much all the time that we have for questions today, but if you have any questions at all, please feel free to email us, university@Netelixir. So thanks so much for joining us today. We hope to see you at our webinar tomorrow. And thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a great day.